Are you worried about passing your big driving test on the very first try? I know it feels hard, but we can do this together, step by step. You can get my complete practice test link in the description, or in the first comment of this video. Use the discount coupon to get all the practice questions with full and clear explanations. These questions will help you get your certification on the very first try, my friend. Please leave suggestions in the comment section to help me improve my future videos. And please, do not forget to hit that subscribe button for more great content. Before we begin, let me share some simple tips to help you learn quickly. Train, test, we need to fix, and then we repeat the whole process again. Read the rules out loud, and picture yourself driving the big rig safely today. Take notes on a piece of paper, and read them before you go to sleep. Section 1 Details. We will talk about the first section of your commercial driving test today. This section focuses on how to inspect your heavy vehicle before you drive it. Safety is always the #1 goal for you and everyone on the road. A good pre-trip inspection helps you find small problems before they become big crashes. You must check the fluid levels, like engine oil, coolant, and power steering fluid. Make sure all your lights work, including the turn signals and your brake lights. Tires are super important, so look carefully for cuts, missing treads, or low pressure. You need at least 4/32 of an inch of tread depth on your front tires. All other tires must have at least 2/32 of an inch of tread. Never mix different types of tires on the same axle of your large truck. Your brakes need to be in perfect shape to stop a very heavy load. Listen for air leaks and test the parking brake to ensure it holds the truck. You must look under the truck to see if there are any fresh fluid leaks. Inside the cab, make sure your seatbelt works and the steering wheel feels tight. Check your mirrors so you can see down both sides of your long trailer clearly. The windshield must be clean, with no big cracks blocking your view of the street. Your windshield wipers should press hard against the glass, and the rubber must be good. You must carry 3 red reflective triangles, spare electrical fuses, and a fire extinguisher. When you start the engine, watch the oil pressure gauge to see it rise quickly. The air pressure gauge should build up to the normal range before you move forward. I want you to always wear your seatbelt, no matter how short the trip is. Basic control of your truck means you can move forward, back up, and turn safely. Always hold the steering wheel firmly with both hands on opposite sides of the wheel. Backing up is dangerous, so you should always try to park where you can pull forward. If you must back up, look at your path, use your mirrors, and back slowly. It is a great idea to use a helper to guide you when backing up. Make sure you and your helper use clear hand signals that you both understand. Shifting gears correctly helps you control your speed and protects the engine from damage. You need to know the right time to shift up and the right time to shift down. Watch your engine speed and use the tachometer to know when to change the gears. Always downshift before you start going down a long, steep hill in your truck. Going too fast down a hill will ruin your brakes, and you might crash. You must also downshift before you enter a curve, to keep the truck stable. Look far ahead down the road, so you can see problems before you reach them. Good drivers look 12 to 15 seconds ahead, which is about 1 city block. Use your mirrors often to know what is happening all around your big vehicle. Blind spots are areas you cannot see in your mirrors, so be very careful. Always signal early before you turn or change lanes, so others know your plan. Cancel your signal after you finish the turn, so other drivers do not get confused. When you need to slow down, tap your brakes lightly to flash your brake lights. Stopping a heavy truck takes a lot more time and space than stopping a car. Your total stopping distance includes thinking time, reaction time, and the actual braking time. If you are tired, the only safe choice is to stop driving and go to sleep. Drinking alcohol or taking drugs will make you a huge danger to everyone on the road. Keep plenty of space between your truck and the vehicle driving right in front of you. You need at least 1 second for each 10 feet of your vehicle length, under 40 miles per hour. Add 1 more second of space if you are driving faster than 40 miles per hour. Driving at night is much harder, because you cannot see as far down the road. Make sure your headlights are clean, and always use your high beams when it is safe. Dim your lights when you are near other cars, so you do not blind them. If a driver blinds you with their high beams, look at the right side of the road. Bad weather like rain, snow, or ice makes the road very slippery and dangerous. You must slow down a lot when the roads are wet or covered in slippery snow. Hydroplaning happens when your tires lose contact with the road and ride on the water. If you start to hydroplane, release the gas pedal and do not hit the brakes. Black ice is a thin layer of clear ice that makes the road look wet. Watch for ice on bridges and overpasses because they freeze before the rest of the road. In very hot weather, check your tires often because the heat can make them blow out. Never let some air out of hot tires because the pressure will be too low later. When you drive in the mountains, gravity makes your truck speed up when going downhill. You must use the braking effect of your engine as the main way to control speed. Use a low gear and brake lightly to keep your speed safe on a steep hill. If your brakes fail on a hill, look for an escape ramp to stop the truck. Construction zones require you to slow down and watch closely for workers near the road. Always obey the lower speed limits in work zones to keep the road workers safe. When crossing railroad tracks, never shift gears, because you might get stuck on the tracks. Make sure your trailer has enough room to cross the tracks without hitting the ground. Aggressive drivers are dangerous, so you should ignore them and give them plenty of room. If an emergency happens, try to steer around the problem instead of slamming on the brakes. You can turn a steering wheel much faster than you can stop a heavy truck. If you have a tire blowout, hold the steering wheel firmly and stay off the brakes. Wait until the truck slows down on its own before you gently apply the brakes. Fires can start from spilled fuel, hot tires, or problems with the truck's electrical system. If you see smoke, pull off the road immediately and park in a safe, open space. Use your fire extinguisher and aim it at the base of the fire, not the flames. Never use water on an electrical fire or a fuel fire, because it will spread it. Always secure your cargo properly, so it does not shift and cause the truck to flip. You must inspect your cargo within the first 50 miles of starting your driving trip. Check the cargo again every 3 hours, or every 150 miles you drive. The weight of your cargo must be balanced to keep the truck stable on the road. Too much weight high up in the trailer makes it very easy to roll the truck. Cover your cargo if it can blow away, to protect the other drivers behind you. Now let me tell you about air brakes, which are very common on large commercial trucks. Air brakes use compressed air to make the brakes work, instead of hydraulic fluid like cars. The air compressor pumps air into the storage tanks, so you have power to stop safely. You must drain your air tanks at the end of every day to remove water and oil. Water in the airlines can freeze in cold weather and cause your brakes to fail. The air pressure gauge shows you how much pressure is inside the main supply tanks. A low air pressure warning signal must turn on before the pressure drops below 60 psi. If the warning light comes on, you must stop the truck right away, in a safe place. Spring brakes are held back by air pressure, and they apply automatically if the air leaks. Never push the brake pedal down when the spring brakes are already on, to avoid damage. You must check the slack adjusters on the brakes to make sure they are not loose. If the slack adjusters move more than 1 inch, your brakes need to be fixed immediately. To test the air leaks, turn the engine off, release the brakes, and watch the gauge. The pressure should not drop more than 2 psi in 1 minute for a single truck. For a combination vehicle, the pressure drop must be less than 3 psi in 1 minute. Section 1 Questions. 1. What is the most important reason for doing a full inspection on your commercial vehicle? Safety is the most important reason for you to inspect your vehicle. Checking your truck keeps you safe and protects all the other drivers sharing the busy highway. 2. What things should you check during a trip to keep your vehicle running safely on the road? You must check all your gauges, tires, secured cargo, and your side mirrors very often. Watching these parts helps you spot problems early, before they cause a major breakdown or an accident. 3. Name some key steering system parts that you need to check before you start driving. You must check the steering wheel, tie rods, and the steering gearbox. If any steering parts are broken or loose, you will lose complete control of your large truck. 4. What is the minimum tread depth required for the front steering tires on your heavy vehicle? You need at least 4/32 of an inch of tread on your front tires. Having deep tread on the front tires prevents dangerous blowouts and helps you steer the truck safely. 5. What is the minimum tread depth required for all the other tires on your commercial truck? All the other tires must have at least 2/32 of an inch of tread depth. Deep treads grip the road much better, especially when you are driving through heavy rain or snow. 6. Name some important pieces of emergency equipment that you must always carry inside your commercial truck. You must carry fire extinguishers, spare electrical fuses, and 3 red reflective warning triangles. This emergency gear will keep you safe and warn other drivers if you break down on the road. 7. How many red reflective warning triangles should you carry inside your large truck at all times? You must always carry exactly 3 red reflective triangles inside your vehicle. You will place these 3 triangles behind your truck to warn others when you are parked illegally. 8. What is a vehicle inspection report, and why do you need to sign it every single day? It is a daily paper showing truck problems, and you sign it to prove it was fixed. This signed report proves that the mechanic fixed the old problems before you start your new trip. 9. Why should you always back toward the driver's side, when you are parking your large truck. Backing toward the driver's side lets you see the rear of the vehicle much better. You can look out your open window to easily watch the back of the trailer moving slowly. 10. What is a helper, and why should you use one when you are backing up your truck? A helper is a person outside who guides you to avoid hitting things while backing up. Since your big truck has many blind spots, a helper keeps you from crashing into hidden objects. 11. What are the 2 special conditions where you should always downshift your commercial vehicle gears? You must downshift before starting down a hill and before you enter a sharp curve. Downshifting uses the engine to slow down, which saves your brakes from getting too hot and failing. 12. How far ahead should a good driver look when driving a truck on the open highway? A good driver looks 12 to 15 seconds ahead down the road. Looking far ahead gives you plenty of time to react safely to traffic jams or road hazards. 13. What should you do if you are being tailgated by an aggressive driver on the highway? You should increase your following distance to avoid any sudden stops and stay safe. By leaving more space in front, you avoid hard braking, giving the tailgater time to stop safely. 14. How do you find out how many seconds of following distance space you currently have? Count the seconds it takes to reach a mark after the vehicle ahead passes that exact mark. Pick a tree or a sign and count 1001 to measure the safe space accurately. 15. What should you do to drive safely when the roads become very slippery from freezing rain? You must reduce your speed slowly and drive with extreme caution on the slippery ice. Slippery roads make it very hard to stop, so driving slowly prevents your heavy truck from spinning. 16. What is black ice, and why is it so dangerous for a large commercial truck driver? Black ice is a clear layer of ice, making the road look like it is just wet. It is very dangerous because drivers do not see it, and they slide out of control easily. 17. How can you safely test the braking effect of your engine when you are driving downhill? Put the truck in a lower gear, let off the gas, and see if it slows down. The engine will hold the truck back, letting you safely go down the hill without using brakes. 18. What is the most important thing to do if your steering tires blow out while driving fast? Grip the steering wheel very tightly, stay off the brakes, and let the truck slow down. Naturally, hitting the brakes will cause you to lose control, so just steer straight until you stop safely. Please remember to check the description to get the full course and practice test link today. Commercial Driver's License Exam Prep 2026 Part 2. Let us talk about communicating with other drivers while you are driving today. You must always signal your intentions clearly before you change your driving lanes. Turn on your signal early so everyone knows what you plan to do. After you finish your turn, remember to turn off your signal completely. If you park on the side of the road, turn on your flashes. Place your 3 warning triangles behind your truck to keep the traffic safe. Put the first triangle 10 feet behind your large truck on the road. Place the second triangle 100 feet behind your truck in the lane. The last triangle goes 200 feet behind you to warn fast cars. Do not use your horn if you are just angry, because it scares people. Now we will talk about managing your speed when driving a big rig. Stopping a heavy truck takes a lot of time and a long distance. When you drive twice as fast, your stopping distance becomes 4 times longer. Empty trucks take longer to stop because they bounce off the hard road. You must slow down when the roads are wet to avoid dangerous crashes. If there is ice on the road, you must reduce your speed slowly. Bridges freeze before the rest of the road, so watch out for ice. When you enter a curve, you must slow down before the actual turn. If you brake hard inside a curve, your wheels might lock and skid. Your trailer can roll over easily if you take a curve too fast. Managing the space around your truck is a very big part of safety. You need plenty of space ahead of you to stop without hitting anyone. Keep 1 second of space for every 10 feet of your truck length. If you drive faster than 40 miles per hour, add 1 more second. You cannot control the space behind you, but you can drive very smoothly. Keep an eye on the cars behind you by checking your side mirrors. Make sure you have enough space above your truck to clear low bridges. Do not assume the clearance signs are right, because the road might change. Fresh road limits can make the bridge clearance lower than the sign says. You also need to watch the space underneath your big and heavy truck. Dirt roads or railroad tracks can get stuck on the bottom of trucks. Let us talk about the dangers of driving your truck at night time. You cannot see as far at night, so you must drive much slower. Your low beam headlights only let you see about 250 feet. High beams let you see about 350 to 500 feet. You must adjust your speed so you can stop within your headlight distance. Look at the right edge of the road if oncoming lights blind you. Keep your windshield clean inside and out, so glare does not block your view. Fog is very dangerous, so you should pull over and park if possible. If you must drive in fog, use your low beams and drive slowly. Turn on your 4-way flashes to help other drivers see your truck. Driving in winter weather brings a lot of snow and very slippery ice. Make sure your truck has plenty of antifreeze to keep the engine safe. You must check your tires often to make sure they have good treads. Carry tire chains in your truck so you can use them on ice. Clean all the snow off your mirrors and all of your truck lights. Driving in very hot weather is also hard on your heavy commercial truck. Hot weather can cause your tires to get too hot and blow out. Never let air out of a hot tire, because it will ruin it. Check your engine coolant level often, but never open a hot radiator cap. If the engine overheats, safely pull over to the side of the road. We must also learn how to cross railroad tracks without crashing your truck. Always slow down and look both ways before you cross the heavy tracks. Never shift your gears while crossing, because your truck could get stuck there. Some trailers sit very low to the ground and get stuck on tracks. If you hear a train coming, stay far away from the dangerous tracks. Distracted driving causes many accidents, so you must pay attention to the road. Do not look at your cell phone while you are driving the truck. Eating food or reading a map while driving takes your eyes off traffic. You must stay focused on the road to keep everyone around you safe. Aggressive drivers will try to make you mad, but you must stay calm. Let the aggressive driver pass you, and do not make eye contact at all. Road rage is a huge problem, so please be a polite truck driver. When you drive down a long hill, gravity makes your truck go faster. You must pick a safe speed, based on how steep the hill is. Put your truck in a low gear, before you start going down hills. Use the braking power of your engine, to control your truck speed downhill. Do not ride your brakes all the way down, or they will fail. Only apply your brakes when you go over your maximum safe downhill speed. Slow down to 5 miles per hour below your safe speed, then release. If your brakes stop working on a hill, you must find an escape ramp. Escape ramps use soft gravel to safely stop a truck with broken brakes. I want you to remember that safety always comes first, on the road. Checking your blind spots is something you must do, every single day now. Mirrors cannot show you everything, so you must lean forward and look around. Pay close attention to motorcycles, because they are very small and hide easily. Make sure your cargo is tied down tight, so it does not move. Shifting cargo can easily flip a large truck, when you make a turn. Check your cargo doors and your tie-downs, before you start your trip. Keep looking far down the road, so you see traffic jams very early. Moving your eyes helps you stay awake, and keeps your mind very sharp. Staring at one spot for too long, will make you feel sleepy quickly. If you feel tired, the only cure is to pull over and sleep. Drinking coffee or energy drinks will only keep you awake for a little while. You must obey the hours of service rules to avoid getting too tired. Your logbook helps track your driving hours and your resting time daily. The police can check your logbook to make sure you rested enough. Make sure you fill out your logbook every single day you drive. Driving safely means you respect the heavy weight of your massive commercial vehicle. We are going to review some practice questions now, to test your knowledge. Section 2 questions. 1. How far ahead should you look when driving a truck on the highway? You should always look 12 to 15 seconds ahead of your large vehicle. Looking this far ahead helps you see danger early, avoiding any big accidents. 2. What must you do if your heavy truck starts to hydroplane on water? Take your foot off the gas pedal and never hit the vehicle brakes. Hitting the brakes will cause you to skid, losing control of your truck. 3. How can you warn other drivers when you park on the road shoulder? Turn on your emergency flashes and place your 3 warning triangles out quickly. The bright triangles warn fast cars to slow down and stay far away. 4. How far behind your truck should you place the 3 reflective warning triangles? Put them 10 feet, 100 feet, and 200 feet behind you. This wide spacing gives everyone plenty of time to see your parked truck. 5. Why does an empty truck take much longer to stop than a loaded truck? Empty trucks bounce a lot, losing their firm grip on the hard road. Heavy cargo pushes the tires down, giving you much better traction for stopping. 6. What should you do when you see a hazard in the road ahead? You should take your foot off the gas pedal and turn on flashes. This simple step warns the drivers behind you that trouble is coming fast. 7. Why do bridges freeze much faster than the rest of the paved highway? Cold air passes under the bridge, freezing the wet surface very quickly today. Always slow down before crossing a bridge in winter to avoid sliding off. 8. What is the safest way to control your speed on a long downgrade? You must pick a low gear and let your engine slow the truck. The engine takes all the hard work, preventing your brakes from catching fire. 9. When should you shift into a low gear for going down a hill? You must shift gears before you start driving down the long steep hill. Trying to shift gears while going downhill will cause you to lose control. 10. How do you properly use your brakes on a very long steep downgrade? Brake until you are 5 miles per hour under speed, and then release. You repeat this braking process often to keep the truck at safe speeds. 11. What is an escape ramp, and why do large commercial trucks use them? It is a soft gravel bed on a hill, used for broken brakes. The deep gravel safely grabs your tires, stopping your truck without a crash. 12. What is the rule for safe following distance when driving your big truck? Leave 1 second for every 10 feet of truck under 40 miles per hour. Adding plenty of space in front of you gives you time to stop safely. 13. What should you do about the space behind you while you are driving? You cannot control cars behind you, but you can drive very smoothly always. Avoiding sudden stops will keep the tailgating cars from hitting your back bumper. 14. What does it mean when your headlights only show 250 feet? It means you are using your low beams during the dark night time. You must drive slow enough to stop inside that short distance safely today. 15. What is the best rule for using your high beam headlights at night? You should use high beams whenever it is safe and legally allowed everywhere. High beams let you see much further, keeping you away from hidden dangers. 16. How can you avoid being blinded by the lights of an oncoming car? Look quickly to the right side of your lane until the car passes. Looking at the white line helps you steer straight without hurting your eyes. 17. What should you do if you become very sleepy while driving your truck? The only safe thing to do is pull off the road and sleep. Coffee and cold air will not keep you awake when you need rest. 18. What should you never do when you cross over rough railroad tracks today? You must never shift your truck gears while driving over the train tracks. Shifting gears might cause your truck to stall, leaving you on the tracks. Thank you for learning with me today in this helpful driving course video. Please remember to check the description below to get the full course link. Get your practice test link today to pass your exam on the first try. Commercial Driver's License Exam Prep 2026 Part 3. Today we are going to learn about transporting cargo safely and handling heavy loads. You are responsible for the cargo you carry, even if you did not load it. You must make sure that your truck is not overloaded and the weight is balanced. An overloaded truck can make steering very difficult, and it might damage your tires. You should check your cargo and the securing devices within the first 50 miles. After that first check, you must recheck the load every 3 hours or 150 miles. This ensures that nothing has loosened up while you were driving down the bumpy road. Federal and state laws say you must have at least 2 tie-downs for any cargo. Use 1 tie-down for every 10 feet of cargo to keep it very steady. The strength of all your tie-downs must be half the weight of the cargo. If you are carrying heavy machinery, You might need extra chains or heavy steel straps. Make sure your cargo is covered, if it can blow out of your open trailer. A loose load can hit other cars and cause a very big accident behind you. You must also be careful with the center of gravity of your loaded truck. A high center of gravity makes it very easy for your truck to tip over. This is especially dangerous when you are taking a curve or turning a sharp corner. Distribute the weight evenly from side to side to keep the truck perfectly level. If the weight is mostly on one side, it could cause a tire blowout. Front heavy loads can make steering hard and put too much stress on the front axle. Rear heavy loads can make the front wheels light, and you might lose steering control. We must also talk about the different types of cargo, like liquids and grains. These loads can shift or surge, which makes the truck move in strange ways. When you have a liquid tank that is only half full, it is dangerous. The liquid will slosh back and forth, and it can push your truck forward. This is called a surge, and it can happen when you use the brakes. You must be very gentle with the brakes when you are hauling a liquid tank. If you turn too fast with a liquid tank, the weight shifts sideways quickly. This shift can pull your truck right over, before you even have time to react. Dry bulk tanks carry things like sand or flour, which can also shift easily. These loads often have a high center of gravity, so slow down on curves. I want to teach you about the special rules for driving with very wide loads. Wide loads require special permits, and you might need an escort vehicle to help. The escort vehicle will lead the way, or follow you with bright flashing lights. You must follow the specific route that is listed on your special hauling permit. Never take a shortcut with a wide load, because you might hit a bridge. Let us look at the rules for transporting passengers in a bus or a van. Passenger safety is the most important thing when you are driving a public bus. You must check every seat to make sure it is bolted down very tight. Make sure the emergency exits are working perfectly and are not blocked by any bags. Always tell your passengers about the emergency exits before you start your driving trip. Do not allow any passengers to stand in front of the standby line on the bus. When you stop at a railroad crossing, you must stop between 15 and 50 feet. Open your door and listen for a train before you cross the metal tracks. Never change gears while you are crossing the tracks to avoid stalling the bus. If you have a rowdy passenger, do not kick him off in a dangerous place. Wait until you are in a safe, well-lit area before you ask them to leave. We also need to talk about hazardous materials, which are very dangerous to carry today. You need a special endorsement on your CDL to haul any hazardous materials safely. These materials can be things like explosives, poisonous gas, or very flammable liquids. You must check the shipping papers to see exactly what you are carrying every day. The truck must have 4 identical placards placed on the front, back, and both sides. Placards are diamond-shaped signs that tell people what kind of danger is inside the truck. There are many different classes of hazardous materials, and each has its own special rule. You must never smoke near a truck that is carrying any flammable or explosive loads. If you have an accident, move far away and call for professional help quickly. Your safety and the safety of the public is always the most important thing here. Always keep your shipping papers in the driver's door pouch or on your seat. This helps emergency workers find the papers quickly if there is a big fire. Let us review some questions now to see how much you have learned today. Practice makes you a better driver, so let us start these questions right now. Section 3 questions. 1. Who is responsible for making sure the cargo on a truck is not overloaded? The driver of the truck is always responsible for the cargo load. Even if you did not load the truck, you must check it for safety. 2. How often must you stop and check your cargo while driving on a trip? You must check your cargo every 3 hours or every 150 miles driven. Stopping to check your load ensures that the tie downs have not become loose. 3. What is the minimum number of tie downs you must have for any cargo load? You must have at least 2 tie downs for every cargo load you carry. This is a legal requirement to keep your cargo from falling off the truck. 4. What happens if you have too much weight on the steering axle of your truck? Too much weight makes steering very hard, and it can damage your tires. The front axle is not made for extreme weight, and it will break easily. 5. Why is a high center of gravity dangerous when you are driving a large truck? It makes the truck much more likely to tip over during a turn. Most of the weight is up high, which pulls the truck over very fast. 6. What is a surge when you are hauling a liquid tank that is partial? A surge is the liquid moving back and forth inside the storage tank. This movement can push your truck forward, even when you are trying to stop. 7. Why should you be extra careful when driving a tank with no bar FF inside? The liquid can shift from front to back with a lot of force. Bar FF are walls that slow down the liquid, so no bar FF means more surge. 8. Where should you keep your shipping papers when you are hauling hazardous materials today? Keep them in the driver's door pouch or right on the driver's seat. This makes it easy for firemen to find them during a bad truck accident. 9. What is the purpose of the placards placed on the outside of a truck? They tell people about the dangerous materials being carried inside the heavy truck. Placards help emergency workers know how to put out a fire or stop leaks. 10. How many placards must you have on a truck carrying hazardous materials safely? You must have 4 placards, 1 on each side, front, and the back. This allows people to see the danger from any direction they are looking from. 11. What is the standby line on a bus, and why is it important today? It is a line that passengers must stay behind while the bus moves. Keeping people behind the line allows the driver to see the mirrors and road. 12. When must you stop a bus at a railroad crossing on your route? You must stop between 15 and 50 feet from the nearest track rail. This is a safety rule to make sure no train is coming your way. 13. What should you do before crossing railroad tracks in a passenger bus today? You must stop, open your door, and look and listen for any trains. This ensures that it is completely safe to cross without putting people in danger. 14. Why should you never shift gears while you are crossing the railroad tracks? Your truck or bus could stall and leave you stuck on the tracks. It is much safer to stay in one gear until you are all the way across. 15. What should you do if you have a very rowdy or dangerous passenger? You should wait until you reach a safe place before you unload them. You must think about the safety of the passenger and the other people nearby. 16. Why must you cover your cargo if you are driving an open-top trailer? It prevents the load from blowing out and hitting other cars on the road. Loose cargo can cause accidents or litter the highway and create a big mess. 17. What is the danger of having a load that is mostly in the rear? It makes the front of the truck light, and you might lose steering. The front wheels need weight to grip the road, so you can turn safely. 18. What should you do if you are unsure about the weight of your cargo? You should find a truck scale and weigh your vehicle before you drive. Knowing your weight keeps you legal and prevents you from getting a big ticket. I hope you enjoyed this lesson on cargo and passenger safety for your exam today. Please remember to check the description below to get the full course link right now. Commercial Driver's License Exam Prep 2026 Part 4. Today we are going to learn about air brakes, which are found on most big trucks. Air brakes are very different from the hydraulic brakes you use in your small car. They use compressed air to push the brake pads against the heavy drums or discs. There are 3 different systems, including the service brake, parking brake, and emergency brake. The air compressor pumps air into the storage tanks while the engine is running. The governor controls when the compressor pumps air into the storage tanks for you. It stops the compressor when the pressure reaches about 125 psi. If the pressure drops to around 100 psi, the governor starts the pump again. You must drain the air tanks daily to remove water and oil from the lines. Water can freeze in the winter and stop your brakes from working at all. An automatic tank drain often has a heating element to prevent freezing during the winter. The brake pedal is also called the foot valve or the treadle valve today. When you push the pedal down, more air pressure is sent to the brakes. Releasing the pedal lets the air out and allows the brakes to release quickly. This means you are using up air every time you press the brake pedal. Pressing and releasing the brakes too often can use up all your stored air. If the air pressure gets too low, your brakes will not work for you. Most heavy vehicles have S-cam drum brakes on each of the many wheels. The S-cam pushes the brake shoes apart and against the inside of the drum. This creates the friction needed to stop your heavy truck on the road. Some trucks use wedge brakes or disc brakes instead of the standard S-cam system. All air brake trucks have a pressure gauge to show you the current pressure. A warning signal must come on before the pressure drops below 60 psi. This warning is usually a red light, a loud buzzer, or a wig-wag. If you see this warning, you must stop the truck safely and very quickly. Spring brakes are held back by air pressure, and they are very strong springs. If all your air leaks out, these springs will apply the brakes automatically. This is your emergency brake system, and it keeps the truck from rolling away. Never hit the brake pedal when the spring brakes are on for the truck. Doing this can break the mechanical parts inside the heavy brake chambers today. A dual air brake system has 2 separate tanks and 2 sets of lines. One system runs the rear axle brakes and the other runs the front brakes. This is a safety feature, so you still have some brakes if one fails. Both systems must have at least 100 psi before you start your trip. You must check the slack adjusters to make sure the brakes are tight. If a slack adjuster moves more than 1 inch, it needs a professional repair. You can check this by pulling on them, with the parking brakes released. Always use wheel chocks when you check this, so the truck does not roll. I want you to know how to test for air leaks properly. Turn off the engine, release the brakes, and time the pressure drop for 1 minute. The pressure should not drop more than 2 psi for a single truck today. For a combination vehicle, the drop should be less than 3 psi per minute. Then, apply the foot brake firmly, and hold it for 1 full minute. The pressure should not drop more than 3 psi for a single unit truck. For a combination vehicle, the drop must be less than 4 psi per minute. If it leaks more than that, you have a dangerous air leak somewhere. You must also check that the low air warning comes on as expected. Turn the engine off and pump the brake pedal to lower the pressure. The warning light or buzzer must turn on at 60 psi or higher. Keep pumping the brakes until the protection valve pops out for the truck. This usually happens between 20 and 45 psi to set the spring brakes. This test ensures that your emergency system will work if you lose air. When you drive down a steep hill, do not use the air brakes. Use a low gear and the engine to keep your speed under control. Only use the brakes to slow down 5 miles per hour below safe. Let the brakes cool off while the engine maintains your safe speed downhill. If you use the brakes too much, they will get hot and fade. Brake fade means the brakes stop working, even if you push the pedal. This is a very scary situation that you must avoid at all costs. Always keep your air system clean, and check it every single day now. Section 4 questions. 1. What are the 3 different systems that make up a modern air brake system? The service brake, parking brake, and emergency brake systems make it up. Each part has a special job to make sure you can always stop. 2. What does the air compressor governor do for the air brake system today? The governor controls when the compressor pumps air into the storage tanks. It keeps the pressure at a safe level so the tanks do not burst. 3. Why is it very important to drain your air tanks at the end of every day? You must drain them to remove water and oil from the air lines. Water can freeze in the winter and stop your brakes from working safely. 4. What is the purpose of the supply pressure gauge on the truck dashboard? It shows you how much air pressure is inside the storage tanks now. You must watch this gauge to know if you have enough air to stop. 5. When must the low air pressure warning signal turn on for the driver? The warning must turn on before the pressure drops below 60 psi. This gives you enough time to pull over safely before the brakes lock. 6. What are spring brakes, and how do they work on a heavy truck? They are powerful springs held back by air that apply the brakes automatically. If you lose all air pressure, these springs stop the truck from moving. 7. What is a dual air brake system, and why is it used today? It is 2 separate air systems that use a single set of controls. If one system fails, the other one can still stop your heavy truck. 8. How can you check the slack adjusters on your S-cam drum brake system? Pull hard on each slack adjuster to see if it moves too much. If it moves more than 1 inch, your brakes are loose and dangerous. 9. What is the maximum air leakage rate for a single truck with brakes off? The pressure should not drop more than 2 psi in 1 minute. A bigger leak means your compressor will have to work way too hard. 10. What is the maximum air leakage rate for a combination vehicle with brakes off? The pressure should not drop more than 3 psi in 1 minute. Extra trailers have more hoses, so a slightly higher leak rate is allowed. 11. What should you do if the low air warning light comes on while driving? You must stop the truck right away, in a safe and open place. Your air is running out, and your brakes might lock up very soon. 12. Why should you never push the brake pedal when the spring brakes are on? Doing this can damage the mechanical parts inside the heavy brake chambers. The double force of the springs and the air can break the system. 13. What happens during brake fade when you are going down a long hill? The brakes get too hot, and they stop stopping the heavy truck. Overheated brakes lose their friction, making it impossible to slow the vehicle down. 14. At what pressure should the tractor protection valve pop out for the driver? The valve should pop out when the pressure drops to 40 psi. This sets the emergency brakes to stop the truck if a leak occurs. 15. What is the S-cam, and what does it do inside the brake drum? It is a cam that pushes the brake shoes against the drum. This cam turns when you step on the pedal, creating the stopping force. 16. How do you test the parking brake on your heavy commercial truck today? Put the truck in a low gear and pull gently against the brake. The truck should not move if the parking brake is working correctly now. 17. What should you do to keep your air brakes from failing in freezing weather? You must drain the air tanks every day to remove all moisture. Clean air lines do not freeze, which keeps your brakes working in snow. 18. What is the most common type of air brake used on commercial vehicles? The S-cam drum brake is the most common type used on trucks. It is a very reliable design that has been used for many years. Thank you for staying with me for this important lesson on air brake systems. Please remember to check the description below to get the full course link. Commercial Driver's License Exam Prep 2026 Part 5. Today we are going to learn about combination vehicles, which include tractor-trailers, doubles, and triples. These vehicles are much heavier and longer than single trucks, so they require more skill to drive. One major risk with a combination vehicle is a rollover, which often happens on sharp turns or curves. To prevent a rollover, you must keep the cargo close to the ground and drive slowly around corners. You must also be aware of the crack the whip effect, which happens during quick lane changes. This effect causes the rear trailer to swing out much harder than the tractor, which can pull the whole truck over. The last trailer in a combination of 3 trailers is the most likely to roll over during a sudden move. Steering gently and looking far ahead will help you avoid making sudden, dangerous movements. When you use the brakes on a combination vehicle, remember that the trailer can skid if the wheels lock up. A trailer skid often leads to a jackknife, where the trailer swings around toward the cab of the tractor. If you see your trailer swinging in the mirrors, release the brakes immediately to get traction back. Do not use the trailer hand valve to straighten a skid, because the trailer brakes caused the problem. Coupling and uncoupling a trailer is a very important task that you must do perfectly every time. Before you back under a trailer, make sure the trailer height is correct and the wheels are chocked. The fifth wheel should be tilted back, and the locking jaws must be open before you begin. Back up slowly until you hear the fifth wheel lock onto the trailer kingpin. After coupling, you must get out and look to make sure there is no space between the upper and lower fifth wheel. Use a flashlight to check that the locking jaws have closed completely around the kingpin. Shank. You must also connect the emergency and service air lines, which are colored red and blue. The red line is for the emergency brakes, and the blue line is for the service brakes. Always check the glad hand seals for any cracks or dirt before you connect the air lines. If the seals are bad, air will leak out and your brakes might not work properly on the road. You must also connect the electrical cable and make sure all the trailer lights are working. When you are finished, raise the landing gear all the way up before you drive away. Section 5 questions. 1. What is the crack the whip effect, and why is it dangerous for truck drivers? It is the rear trailer swinging out with more force than the tractor during a turn. This effect can cause the rear trailer to roll over, even if the tractor stays upright. 2. Which trailer is most likely to roll over when you are pulling a triple trailer combination? The last trailer is the one that is most likely to roll over. The crack the whip effect becomes much stronger with every trailer you add. 3. What is the most common cause of a trailer jackknife when you are driving? A jackknife is usually caused by the trailer wheels locking up during hard braking. When the wheels stop spinning, the trailer slides sideways and can hit the tractor. 4. Why should you never use the trailer hand valve to straighten out a skidding trailer? The trailer brakes caused the skid, so using more brake will make the skid worse. You must release the brakes to let the wheels spin and grip the road again. 5. What should you check for when you look under the trailer after coupling the fifth wheel? Make sure there is no space at all between the upper and lower fifth wheel plates. If there is a gap, the trailer might come loose while you are driving down the road. 6. What part of the trailer does the fifth wheel locking jaws grip onto to stay secure? The jaws grip onto the kingpin, which is the heavy metal pin under the trailer. You must visually check that the jaws are locked around the narrow part of the pin. 7. What are the colors of the two air lines that connect a tractor to a trailer? The emergency line is red, and the service line is blue. Using the colors helps you connect the lines to the right ports every time. 8. What are glad hands, and what do they do for a combination vehicle? Glad hands are the connectors used to join the air lines between the tractor and trailer. They have rubber seals that keep the air inside the system, so the brakes work. 9. What should you do with the trailer air supply valve before you back under a trailer? You should push the valve in to supply air to the trailer system. This allows the trailer brakes to release or stay set, depending on the situation. 10. Why is it dangerous to drive with a trailer that has a high center of gravity? A high center of gravity makes the trailer much more likely to tip over in a turn. You must slow down even more on curves if your load is stacked high. 11. How do you test that the tractor is firmly locked to the trailer after coupling? Pull the tractor gently forward, while the trailer brakes are still locked. This is called a tug test, and it ensures the kingpin is caught in the jaws. 12. When should you use wheel chocks, while you are coupling or uncoupling a trailer? Use chocks anytime the trailer does not have spring brakes, to keep it from rolling. Chocks provide extra safety so the trailer stays in one place while you work. 13. What happens if you cross the air lines when you are connecting a trailer? You will not be able to release the trailer brakes, and the truck will not move. The air will go to the wrong place, and the emergency system will stay on. 14. Why must the landing gear be raised all the way before you start your trip? If the landing gear is too low, it might hit the ground or a railroad track. This could damage the trailer or cause the truck to get stuck and crash. 15. How can you prevent a rollover when you are carrying a very heavy load? Keep the load as low as possible, and go very slowly around every curve. Speed and height are the two biggest factors that lead to truck rollovers. 16. What is the purpose of the shut-off valves at the back of some trailers? They are used to close the air lines when you are not pulling another trailer. If the valves are open, all the air will leak out of the back of the truck. 17. Why do empty trucks take longer to stop than trucks that are fully loaded? Empty trucks have less traction, so the wheels lock up and slide more easily. The brakes are designed for heavy weight, so they are very powerful on empty tires. 18. What should you do before uncoupling to make sure the trailer does not sink? Make sure the ground is firm and can support the weight of the trailer. If the ground is soft, the landing gear might sink and tip the trailer over. I hope you found this lesson on combination vehicles helpful for your exam. Commercial Driver's License Exam Prep 2026 Part 6. Section 6 details. Today we will focus on inspecting your vehicle and the importance of the pre-trip inspection. You must ensure your truck is safe to drive before you ever head out on the road. A proper inspection helps you find small problems before they become big, dangerous accidents. You should start by approaching the vehicle and looking for any leaks or low-hanging wires. Check under the engine for puddles of oil, coolant, grease, or fuel on the ground. Inside the engine compartment, check the levels of the engine oil and the radiator coolant. Look at all the belts to make sure they are tight and do not have any big cracks. A broken belt can cause your engine to overheat or stop your alternator from charging. You must also check the power steering fluid and look for leaks in the steering hoses. Check the steering box and the steering linkage to make sure no bolts are missing. Moving to the side of the truck, you must inspect the condition of every single tire. Check the tread depth, which must be at least 4/32 of an inch on the front tires. The rear tires must have at least 2/32 of an inch of tread to be legal and safe. Look for any cuts or bulges in the sidewalls that could cause a tire to blow out. Make sure all the lug nuts are tight and look for rust streaks, which mean they are loose. You must also check the suspension system, including the leaf springs and the shock absorbers. Look for cracked or broken spring leaves and make sure the U-bolts are not loose or broken. If more than 1/4 of the leaves in a spring pack are broken, the truck is illegal to drive. Check the brake drums and linings to make sure they are not cracked or soaked in oil. If there is grease on the brake linings, your truck will not be able to stop quickly. Finally, Check all the lights and reflectors around the entire truck and the trailer. This includes the high and low beam headlights, turn signals, and the four-way flashes. Clean your mirrors and the windshield so you can see everything clearly while you drive. Make sure you have your emergency equipment, like a fire extinguisher and reflective triangles. Once you finish your walk around, you are ready to start your trip with total confidence. Section 6 questions. 1. Why is the pre-trip inspection the most important part of a truck driver's day? It helps you find mechanical problems before they cause an accident on the road. Finding a leak or a loose bolt at the truck stop is much safer than finding it on the highway. 2. What is the minimum tread depth required for the front steering tires of a truck? The front tires must have a tread depth of at least 4/32 of an inch. Deep tread on the front tires is vital for steering and preventing hydroplaning in the rain. 3. What does a rust streak around a lug nut on a wheel usually indicate? It usually means that the lug nut is loose and needs to be tightened immediately. The rust forms when the metal parts rub together because they are not held tight. 4. What should you look for when inspecting the steering box and the linkage? Look for missing nuts, bolts, or cotter keys that hold the steering together. If any of these parts fall off, you will lose the ability to steer the heavy truck. 5. How many broken leaves in a leaf spring pack will make a vehicle illegal to drive? If 1/4 or more of the leaves are missing or broken, it is out of service. A broken suspension can cause the truck to lean or the axle to shift out of place. 6. What is the danger of having oil or grease on the brake linings of your truck? It causes the brakes to fail because there is no friction to stop the wheel. Grease acts as a lubricant, which is the opposite of what you want for stopping power. 7. What emergency equipment must you always carry inside your commercial vehicle? You must have a fire extinguisher, spare fuses, and 3 red reflective triangles. These items help you stay safe and warn others if your truck breaks down at night. 8. When should you check your engine oil and coolant levels for the best accuracy? You should check them while the engine is cool and parked on level ground. This ensures the fluids have settled so you get a true reading of the levels. 9. Why must you check the air compressor belt during your engine inspection? If the belt breaks, the compressor will stop and you will lose your air brakes. The air brakes need a constant supply of air to keep you moving and stopping safely. 10. What should you do if you find a major leak under the engine of your truck? You must get the leak repaired before you start driving the vehicle anywhere. A major leak can lead to engine failure or a fire while you are on the road. 11. What is the purpose of checking the splash guards or mud flaps on your trailer? They prevent rocks and debris from flying up and hitting the cars behind you. Keeping your mud flaps in good shape is a courtesy to other drivers and a legal rule. 12. How do you check for a leak in the steering system during your inspection? Look for puddles on the ground and check the fluid level in the power steering tank. A drop in fluid level usually means there is a hole in one of the high-pressure hoses. 13. What should you check regarding the battery box during your walk around? Make sure the batteries are secure and the connections are tight and clean. Loose batteries can vibrate and break, causing the truck to lose all electrical power. 14. Why is it important to check the light reflectors on the side of the trailer? They help other drivers see the long trailer when it is dark or very cloudy. Reflectors stay working even if your electrical system fails and your lights go out. 15. What is the minimum tread depth allowed for all tires except the front tires? All other tires must have at least 2/32 of an inch of tread depth. While they don't need as much as the front, they still need grip to move and stop. 16. What should you check for when inspecting the frame of the truck or trailer? Look for any cracks, broken welds, or holes that should not be there. A cracked frame can cause the entire truck to collapse under a heavy load. 17. How can you tell if a shock absorber is bad during your visual inspection? Look for any signs of oil leaking out of the side of the shock absorber. A leaking shock will not be able to soften the bumps, making the ride very rough. 18. What is the final step of a proper pre-trip inspection before you pull away? You should test your service brakes by moving forward slowly and stopping. This brake check confirms that the truck will actually stop when you need it to. I hope this lesson on vehicle inspection helps you feel ready for your exam. Please remember to check the description below for the link to the full course. Getting the complete practice test will give you the best chance to pass on the first try. Would you like me to start preparing Part 7 for you right now?